All right, let's take a closer look now at the connection between Trump and Wall Street. I'm joined by Steve Pruitt, a managing partner at Watts Partners and the former staff director of the Budget Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you very much.
So we're coming back up now on this one-year mark since President Trump's inauguration. How much credit should Trump get for the stock market bump and its record performance?
Well, more than zero, but not much more than one.
And why so harsh?
Well, number one, there's never been a plan put in place. I mean, it's all kind of pieces of campaign rhetoric that we're seeing and have seen pretty much proposed. Secondly, much of the agenda that he has rolled out that conceivably could have an impact has focused almost totally on retracting compliance type regulations versus looking at regulations that really would kick in and have some economic effect. I would say lastly, most folks probably are celebrating the fact of how little he's accomplished versus how much he's proposed. So.
Now, speaking of key legislation that he got through, let's look at tax reform. We saw that companies including Walmart and AT&T were basically crediting it and giving more bonuses and increasing wages, but then also more layoffs. Explain to us this cycle of what's happened then with tax reform.
Well, in some corners, it would be referred to as bait and switch. Secondly, I think you've got a major concern here that the companies that we focused on, if you compare the numbers of people that are enjoying those bonuses compared to the overall population, it barely reaches fingernail impact. So I think, yes, it's a good idea. I think in some instances, folks are trying to suggest that those moves by AT&T and Walmart stand as an example of what other companies would do. But you kind of have to stop and ask yourself, if it's so good, why aren't we looking at a list? Why shouldn't it look like the credits at the end of the movie with one company after another, after another, after another, if it's that good? And we're not seeing that.
Now, this is a very recent passage, to be fair, of the tax bill, but in terms of the stock markets and the euphoria that we're seeing, is that in any way correlating to how consumers are feeling about how things are going?
Well, in short, no. I think you have to realize, and I saw a report earlier today that quantified the fact that the stock market really has been on a major uptick since March of 2009, when basically we finally put our hands around the throat of the financial disaster here in America and shook it up and said, okay, this is how we're going to move forward. Stock market since then has just been going up and up. Secondly, in terms of numbers, hitting 26,000, probably in today's economy, as globalized as it is about virtually the same impact as hitting maybe 16,000. It's just a number out there that drives earnings for that portion of America and the world. In fact, I understand, again, when you look at the stock market, the major investors in the stock market are foreign. They're not American. So again, as an American, I'm not feeling today the impact. I may, when I retire, see some minor restoration of what I lost in 2008.
Right.
The last time my Republican friends were in charge of the economy and we had the financial crash, picked up some. But in terms of today, I don't see it, and that number really doesn't mean a whole lot for me.
Now, we did see that Wall Street has really started factoring in a lot of these things, whether it's tax reform, whether even before they saw it, they'd already factored it in. So when it actually passed, they weren't that surprised. So there are still a number of outstanding things that haven't been pushed through, including this huge infrastructure plan. What is it that Wall Street is looking for next?
I think clearly they're looking for a major infrastructure program. And I think the $200 billion that's currently sitting on the table is a good start. Wall Street will look at this, and if anything that is bigger than about $500 or $600 billion is going to get rave reviews. I don't see how we get to $1 trillion without literally putting some more cash on the table, which ultimately redounds to a deficit. And I think within maybe the next 6 months, you're going to start seeing some concern out of Wall Street if the global economy starts to slow down about the U.S. deficit. Today, you know, everybody's popping the cork, partying through 2018 like it's 1999.
Right.
But how long is that going to last, and who's going to fall first is going to be the major issue here.
Indeed. Well, thank you as always for your insights. Steve Pruitt, Managing Partner at Watts Partners.